Hi guys, Dandelion Song here. We're outside, so I can't see what my camera's doing. I'll have to fix this. Alright, well that's better. We're going to look over these two words. I'm going to do the secret doctrine again for you because it's, as you can see, a disaster. And we're going to look at the word omnific. I think I can do this one right here. So, and then I'll read this passage. I'm going to try to read this in smaller chunks. I just hope that the concepts aren't lost in the smaller chunks, but I'm learning a lot about Osiris and Orion, and I think it's pretty valuable. Okay, so omnific, and I'll show you in context. Osiris represented the secret doctrine prior to that time when the omnific word was lost. Osiris is the first of 5 children of Nut. He therefore corresponds to the first of the 5 divine kings of China and 5 exoterically known Dhyana Buddhas of Lamaism. The 5 children of Nut are the 5 continents which have appeared upon the earth and the 5 races which have populated these continents. Osiris is the primitive revelation of the first race. Alright, we'll just go to the end of this concept and then I'll show you these words. Oh, but as Isis, But as Isis was born on the 4th day, we find this tradition coming into Egypt through the Atlantean mystery school of which Isis is the symbol. See, I didn't know Isis was the symbol of the Atlantean mystery school, did you? I just want to point out again, I am not any religion, I'm not any club, I'm certainly not Freemasonry or Egyptian. I think I was Egyptian in other lifetimes though. And if I remember any secrets from that, I'll tell you, but so far it's a mystery. Okay, a little bit more. From the reign of Osiris, we glean the following philosophical history. There was a time, the golden age, when truth and wisdom ruled the earth, and the aristocracy of wisdom was a benevolent despotism in which men were led to a nobler state of being by the firm, kindly hand of the enlightened sage. This was the divine dynasty of mythological priest kings who were qualified to govern humanity by virtue not only temporal, but by divine attribute. Through his priests, Osiris, representative of the hidden tradition, ruled the entire world by virtue of the perfection resident in that tradition. Well, that explains a lot, right? Why we see, if Osiris is Orion, why we see Orion everywhere, and why we see Osiris and Isis everywhere. So I feel like a little bit relieved that we're finally getting to the core of some of these things, and if we have to read their own documents, so be it. I just want to know, don't you? Alright, well, I'm sitting outside, so there's tons of leaves here. I'm under my oak tree. Okay, let's look at the omnific first. So here's Om 28. Did I already do this word? It looks familiar to me. I know I told you about the 21. I don't think I showed you this word though. So Om is the 28, which is the cycle of the sun. Which I think the cycle of the sun is kind of like symbolic of kind of like a unit of evolutionary time for man, like a unit of consciousness evolution. Could be 28 days. It'd be a unit, right? I'm a little distracted. My dog she's supposed to stay on the porch, and sometimes I can hear her nosing through the leaves over there. All right. So 21 is the 21st prime, which is 73. So that's the second half of the star matrix, and this I have been taking to be divine creation, but I think the Masons see this as also a craft of man, whether for good or for evil, depending on which kind of Freemason you are. Okay, so, and then this reduces to a 3. Now, not only is this the prime of this, so this would be the finished This would be the prime of the finished half of the star matrix, but it's also the U. So when, oh, I forgot to tell you, up in this top half, we are on the menorah top half. The menorah code often lays the numbers side by side. So this is the U, which I take to be as above, because that is the upper half of the chalice. Oh, excuse me. Now we could talk a lot about these letters, but I'm just going to try to get through this word here. Now in the center of this word, we have 3 on this side and 3 on this side. There's a 9. Over here on this side, we would have a 37. See? Oh, hold on. Let me add it together. I was adding the bottom half. On the bottom half, we have a 37. Oh, no, we don't. Gosh, I'm really sorry. That looked like a 9 for a second. It's a 42. Okay, so it's the meaning of life over here. So OMN is a meaning of life. Yeah. I broke this down a few different ways. On the top half in the menorah gematria, this is a 4. So it contains the 21. Looks like it also contains the 11, and then it adds to the 4, which would be the D, the dome. Okay, in the center you have the I, which in the menorah gematria is a 5 or a pentacle, or the balance of the 5 elements. And then so we would add, for this half, we would add the 9 to this, which would be a 51 on this half for the simple gematria. Okay, so then over on the top, we would have a 4 and a 5, which would be a 9. Omni would be a 9. So it looks like they're still referring to, basically you added an I, which is the ego, to this. This would be the time plus the sound, right? Because this is, in ancient Egyptian, the N is written like this. That's the sacred sound. Then you add ego to it, and you basically still end up with sorry, this would be, yeah, you still end up with 9. It's a little different because 9 in vector mathematics, no matter what you add it to, it ends up to be what it was before you added it to that in the digital root. But because this is menorah gematria on the top, and that's a 5, it's still ego, but the number behaves differently, and yet we still have a 9 on the top over here, so that's symbolic. Okay, well, over here, it's basically, I want you to see the 365 of the fic, because this is a suffix that we should be aware of. So chi is 365. This is an algorithm. I mean, not an algorithm, anagram. Sorry, anagram of 365. So it'd be FCI. But this is a year, basically, right here, see? And it adds up to 14. 14 we could take as an Osiris number now. So when they did the Twin Towers in multiples of 14, that could have been Osiris reference, or, you know, of course it was an Orion reference, right? So we need to connect these dots. Okay, well, anyway, sorry about my writing, but if you add all of these menorah code gematrias together, according to my calculations, you have 9 and 23, which is, it equals in the simple gematria, and that equals 23. You see what I'm saying? Like, because this is a 9 and a 14, 9 and a 14, that's what I mean. You could break this down according to syllables, Omnific, so then you would have the 4, the 5, and the 14. And then you could do your valence code, 5 in the middle, 4 over here, that would be the 18, that would be the R, the manifestation with the 5 elements in the center. Do you see what I'm saying? If you're new to my channel, I've done a lot of word decodes, and I have a playlist, and I know that I I guess it's hard for people to follow. But if you watch those playlists, you'll start to get the idea of this. And I think this is an important study because we are all speaking a language we don't know what it means. And I'm not sure exactly everything either. I'm just breaking it down as we go along and looking at these clues for what these root words mean, why we have certain letters in the middle, what our suffixes and prefixes mean. And then after enough of these, you know, maybe a year's worth, maybe 2 years, we're going to be fluent in what these words mean, and these sentences are going to take on different meanings to us. So I hope you come along for that ride. And the bottom here, we have a 9 and a 42, which equals a 51. Let me just, and then on this side, we have a little 69 here, the F and the I, plus the 3. So this is the Tesla number right here. Interesting, because this is such an important combination, the 365, because we see it in the phi, in the menorah gematria, and there's probably some other combinations, and we know how important these words are. Just pi is very important, and that's 35, and that's the I. This is the number of the UN, the I in simple gematria. So I'm going back and forth. This is menorah gematria here, but it builds a bridge to the simple gematria, and it gives us clues about this. Okay, well, if we add these together, this is a 9 and a 9, which is an 18, and if we add that to the 51, we get a 69. 69 is the arch of the Freemason bridge, the top of the Freemason arch. I've had a headache for 2 or 3 days, you guys. I almost wasn't going to make any videos today, and these might be late up tomorrow, but hopefully they're short enough that won't matter. I don't know what happened. Normally I don't have that, so I just needed to sleep a lot. I just had to sleep, like I had no choice. Alright, so 69, very important number, and we've seen this. I'm going to go ahead, find a little post-it, go ahead and it's been a while since I've done this. And welcome all my new viewers. I appreciate you coming along for the ride. Appreciate your friendly comments. Like I tell my teenagers, I'm a person and I have feelings, and I like your friendly comments. Okay, oh, we're over here. So I'm just going to show you a little bit. We see, like in the Ankara bombing, there were tons of 86s and 186. And the 186 is the same number as the 816, which was the Hoover Dam skeletons. There were 2 skeletons found below the Hoover Dam, and they had Bernie's Living the Dream plus this date on their little placard. They were holding it. They were tied down to lawn chairs. They had sunglasses on. It was ridiculous. Then we had the Dylan Stormroof timestamp. I have this in my intro. You can look for the Philadelphia pictures and pause and pause and pause until you see the Dylan Stormroof. And in the timestamp above it is the date, which roots to a 13, the time, which is an 816, and then the seconds, which roots to another 13. So you have a 1313 gate. This refers to the Georgia Guidestones. Now the Georgia Guidestones also have this number on them. I'll just put a GG here for that. And they also have the 1313 in the form of the MM. So this is all related. So if we could figure this out, we might be able to, what we would have to do is back engineer the very clear clues so that we could tell that the Dylan Stormroof thing was about to happen. If we could back engineer that, we would have an algorithm to test on other dates, and then we could watch those dates go by and see if we were right, or see if, use that to perfect the algorithm to predict. There must be some way to predict these things. The Dylan Stormroof thing, of course, was a drill. It said it right there on the Homeland Security website. So, and I also watch Team Wake 'em Up and Red Silver Jay, and he usually points out the obvious, and that's very good because the obvious is very important. So we have different scales of decoders. We have the very valuable people who point out the obvious. Love those guys, and they make me laugh, and it's hilarious. Then we have the people who point out like the visual codes that are a little deeper, and then we have people who really tear up the numbers. So there's something for everybody here. Okay, we can all get along. Okay, did I cover this? Oh yeah, so this goes to 9. That's the reason why this is 9-6. This is... Okay, so... So, here we go. Phi, very important number, has to do with Philadelphia. Philadelphia has 2 phi's in it. If you square phi, the first, you go from 1, 6, 1, 8, and I believe it's a 0, 3, 3, 9, I believe. You know, I know it's important to some people. I might still have trouble memorizing this far out. And if you square it, it's basically 2, 6, 1, 8, 0, 3, 3, 9. So you see, on these last episodes that we've been having, we've had a lot of 33s and 9s coded into these episodes. And we've had a lot of 816s, and they've basically been 93s. Now, a 93 is a Hoover Dam number. That's the birthday of the Hoover Dam, and there are just tons and tons and tons of 93 codes in the Hoover Dam. They are going backwards on this. This is a destiny. I believe this is a destiny symbol for them. So they're going backwards on this. I believe they're counting back towards the whole number. I just don't understand the full algorithm of the full timing of how they do this. But anyway, so this backwards, of course, is 816, and that is the Bride of Christ number. If you look up, if you gematria Bride of Christ, you get that number. And if you gematria Allison Parker, you get this number. If you gematria Stock Market, you get this number. So this is, so when I refer to the 9-6s, we are referring to phi because this roots to 9-6. And it roots to 6-9. Now, in this, in the phi configuration, this is forward. It's a 6-9, and that is the apex of. This is the Freemason arch right here. With, you know, you have the sun. I think the sun's on this side, and we have these pillars, and they named these pillars out, this hurricane, after these pillars. So we are not out here in left field. You know, we might not have all of our, you know, poker chips on the table or cards figured out, but we're not out here in left field. This is making sense. Just to be complete, since I'm digging into this a little bit, the 69 is the sign of the crab. I'll just draw you a little crab. See? Cartoon. The crab in the ancient, you know, and I read you that this is supposed to be the originally supposed to be, where did it say? Benevolent rulers. All right, well, I'm not going to find it. You remember. Benevolent rulers. This is supposed to be good originally. So a benevolent ruler would have a balance of 4 elements. That's what they recognized at the time. So the crab has the balance of the 4 elements: earth, air, wind, and fire. It's the color of fire. It breathes air and water. And it can be under the water or on top of the water, like the sea foam. They really liked the sea foam in the ancient days. They thought that was the apex of balance. Okay. Now, I'm going to go into the dates here. So, 6-9 is a date. It's the 6-18 is June 18th. This is the 169th day with the 196 remaining. Okay. Also, it's very close to summer solstice, which is, that's what this is. Well, okay, 169 days remaining. What's this day? What's the 169th day? That is July 15th, 7/15. So this is a G and an O, the first 2 letters of God. Now you'll notice that 7/4, which is 4th of July, plus 11, which is the sign of, you could say it as the sign of death, the gates, the illumination. There's, you know, there's a full circle, a yin and yang way to decode this, but perfect perspective, or you could see it as, you know, I feel like the Freemasons right now are trying to darken this symbol. And it's originally meant to be white. White equals 11. It's originally meant to be wise. Okay, well, anyway, so 7/4 plus 15 is 7/15. This was the start of Jade Helm. So this is why I call the 9-6. So this is the 196th day, and this would be the GO. So this is why I call the 96 a GO number. And what I think this means is that it means to come from the 9th dimension to the 6th dimension. The FR, oh sorry, these are also letters. This is the FR, the first two letters of free. This means that you have the ability to translate these dimensions from the 6th to the 9th, and then you're free. This means either the fall, it could mean the fall, but it also could mean that a divine teacher or somebody who is capable of being in the 9th dimension chooses to come here, right? And that person might be seen as a god, or those who from the heavens came. Okay, all right, so often I just refer to this conversation and I don't actually get into it. So I got into it this time. All right, I hope you guys like that. Oh, my video got long. But we did read a little bit and we went over the Omnific. Now I do want to get into the secret doctrine. So talk to you later.